We're live.
Are we? Oh, we are
Yes,
live.
we
Hello,
are.
everybody. Okay, how do you know how many
Let's
people are
see.
there anyway?
So
How many
I think
people are
both
we
of us.
giving? How many people are we
Uh,
giving Gyan to?
let's see how many people join. So we're gonna see the number of people who are going to be live in a while once people start dropping in, which should be
Uh-huh.
soon. There's a little bit of delay in this, so I think yeah, maybe few seconds before we get to know that people have joined in and people
Mm,
start saying hi, hello.
mm. Okay. Kajal is
Yeah,
also
so we
on
have our
YouTube.
first hi.
So, did you say hi, Kajal?
No, it's Shailesh. Okay, we have 22 people already.
The what? The what? Oh, she says she's on YouTube. Her video's not on. She can only view.
Okay, so there are people who are commenting. So there are about 22 people already.
Are they commenting on YouTube? I'm very excited. I love all this technology. It's very cool.
There's somebody, there's
I'm a
somebody,
Zoom baby. I'm just zoom all the time. So
this,
this is new
this is
to me.
StreamYard, which is quite interesting. So there's somebody who's saying ये कल जैसा April Fool तो नहीं है because I did a test yesterday. No, this is not an April Fool. I have Pooja with me right now, as I'm sure all of you can see it. And all right, so I think I have a decent number of people watching us right now, so I'll begin. So, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me live for this discussion, which is extremely important. And thank you so much, Pooja, for joining. I think my
Thank you
guest,
so much,
ladies and
Deepika,
gentlemen,
for always being out there and putting out good thoughts and positive realities and fighting for people and fighting for justice and exposing the malaise in society and working towards healthier and happier families and lives. So thank you for all of that.
how sweet. So, the topic of discussion today is shared parenting, and my
Mhm.
guest needs no introduction. All of you know her, and she's not just an amazing, amazing person, an actor, an author, but she's somebody who has lived by example for what we are going to be discussing today. She has set an example in front of the society on how to do it right, and that's why I thought there's nobody better than Pooja
Aw.
to be talking about shared parenting, co parenting, and how to do it right, and keeping the well being in real terms of the kids in focus more than anything else. So, thank you so much, Pooja, once again for joining. And before we start, yesterday when I was researching, I read a line which I thought was really beautiful. It said, couples can fight, but parents should not fight. And I thought that was so sweet, that whatever happens between couples it's fine, but I think a kid needs both the parents, and they don't like parents fighting. They don't like so much of discord, and they would always want to see their parents being on the best of the terms. So let's just start, Pooja. My first question is, there's a lot of anger and sort of bitterness when people head towards a divorce. It's very unfortunate, and I'm sure it's painful for both the partners, but it is a reality of our times. So how can partners really, let's begin from the basic, how can partners avoid being bitter and avoid being so destructive in trying to put each other down when a situation of separation arrives?
Right. So, Deepika, firstly, I'd like to say that, through my company, Happy Soul, which I founded, I've done about 10 to 15 years of research on the human mind, the human psychology, NLP, neuro-linguistic programming techniques, energy work, different modalities, etc. And it's all about the journey of the human being and the human soul. And I think most importantly, what I transmit through these courses is an awareness to people that, let's just look at our journey first. Forget the roles that we play. Okay, we are here as human beings with very real emotions in a very real world, with a lot being thrown our way that sometimes we can't comprehend and we can't grasp. Yeah. So a lot of our journey is just finding out through trial and error and through experiences, and mistakes, and redoing them and bettering yourself and trying to better your life, or and ruining your choices and hating yourself for different things, or loving people for what they bring into your life or hating people for what they're doing to you. right? It's very normal, very human, our journey. I always tell people who would attend my courses, we're not human beings seeking a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings who come here to have a human experience. Okay. So firstly, enjoy your human journey. Okay. Accept that you're human. You will go through a multitude of emotions. It's normal. Now, when we talk specifically in this, we can go all over the place with this discussion, but to be very precise and systematic and sticking to the topic that we have today, you first have to understand your journey through what we call seer programming. Okay. So every single person is a culmination of their seer programming, SEER. S stands for your social programming, which teaches you how you should eat, how you should behave, what you should dress, what is moral, what is immoral, being vegetarian, being non-vegetarian. These all part of your social programming. E is your economic programming, your attitude towards money. Is money a good thing? Is money a bad thing? Rich people are bad people. Your whole attitude to money is shaped by your economic programming. E again is your experiences. What experiences have taught you? So if you've been in a relationship where someone has cheated you, you tend to be distrustful. If your boyfriend has a girlfriend has gone out there, or, a partner's gone out there and cheated behind your back, you become jealous. You become, So all these experiences shape you. Okay. R is your religious programming, which teaches you the concept of heaven and hell and, God and karma and all that comes into you, what you call your religious programming that is dinned into rituals and, ye karenge to ye phalayega, ye karo to ye hoga. So we are nothing but a culmination of our seer programming, each one of us. Firstly, you have to identify what the seer programming is, because to undo a programming is hard work. Okay. So firstly, a realization that yes, I am nothing but a combination of my SEER quotient. Okay. So for example, how do you see a divorce is also seer programming. How do you see a role that someone plays? Mother-in-laws are bad people. Daughter-in-laws will always trouble. It's an inbuilt conditioning, right?
Yeah.
Your mother can trouble you, no end is fine. Your mother-in-law does a little thing also. Dekho, saas aisi hai, So it's like it's a whole concept that the mother-in-law is the evil one. The daughter-in-laws come to take away your son. It depends what your mindset is. So first you have to see what is your conditioning and your programming and your experiences that have also taught you that looking at other people's lives, right? And how to view it differently. So say, for example, a divorce. Do you see a divorce as a good thing or a bad thing? A majority of people say divorce is a bad thing, right? It's not.
Yeah.
Divorce
Right.
basically means that two people who are not getting along have chosen to separate their lives, that's causing intense grief, agony, and conflict, and move to better spaces that are empowering them further, right? So a divorce can be seen as something, it can be seen as a failure, or it can be seen as a success. Again, the choice is yours and what your programming says. So do you see your divorce as something that empowered you or something is disempowering you? Again, is the way you see it. So say, for example, do you see yourself as a victim of a divorce? Do you say, oh, mere saath ye hua, main kitni bechari hu, because there's a stigma attached to being a divorcee? Or do you turn and say, I'm so empowered, I can go and make new decisions in my life and find me someone that will really, really love me from now onwards? Right? Again, it's how you choose to see it. Right? Are you a victim? Are you a victim? You turn around and see a marriage as a failure. Do you say, oh my God, I failed because it didn't last forever? Or are you going to say, okay, I spent 10 years with this person, 15 years with this person, and I had many good years. That's why I was with the person. The person must have been wonderful for me to share those number of years with that person, right? There must have been good things. I'm not an idiot. I'm going to spend 15 years of my life with someone who's bad, right? There must have been really good times. So the good times exist. The bad times began. They were irreconcilable differences that led us to believe that we cannot have this journey together anymore, right? Do I choose to say, no, I will be married for the next 60 years of my life unhappily, miserably, cause myself grief, cause my partner grief, cause my children grief, cause all my friends to hear about it again and again and again? Do I want to live miserably for the next 50 years because I had 10 good years? The choice is always yours. Do you choose to liberate yourself to lead the next 50 years also with a wonderful new person? Or do you choose to hang on to a bad marriage and club yourself with it, club your spouse with it, club your kids with it, shouting, screaming in the house, kids are shutting their ears and saying, my God, I wish my parents would just bloody separate, because it's no longer a stigma. There was a time when divorces were stigmatized. I get it. But times have changed. Realities are changing dramatically. So the first thing to do is identify your seer programming and make the programming shift in your consciousness so it works for you. Because whatever you do, whatever decision you take, it is a decision that is meant to take you and your life from strength to strength. If you're happy, you can spread happiness. Whatever's in your well is what you can give. You have money, you can give money. You have happiness, you can give happiness, right? So what
Right.
is the fear programming? That is the first thing that you must always look at, right? um, when you talk about negativity, anger, it's normal. No breakup is painless. The death of a parent is not painless. The death of a relationship can never be painless either. It's normal to experience pain. You can't run and hate somebody for giving you pain, because the pain is also self-inflicted. So you have to turn
Right.
around and say, all right, things aren't going well. If I'm hurting, so is the other person. It's
Right.
equally difficult for that person, because that person also had dreams. That person also had dreams and desires and this happily forever after, where this child with so much love, we imagined our family is going to be like the movies, you know.
Right.
It's not. The reality hits and you're like, okay, well, I'm hurting, that person's hurting. How do we make it better? Right. So firstly, to acknowledge that you are your seer programming. Are you seeing it as a positive or a negative? And then most importantly, to turn around and say, all right, how can I empower myself with this knowledge? How can I change this? Because I'm certainly hurting and I want to acknowledge that I'm hurting, because it would be stupid and insensitive to myself to pretend I'm not hurting, because it's
Right.
human. I'm here for my human experience, and my human experience is telling me I'm hurting. The choice is, do I want to hurt for the next 1.5 years till I get over it, or do I want to hurt for the next 60 years being stuck in a bad marriage?
Correct.
These are the
Uh,
very important things to look at.
So, Pooja, I've been, although my focus area is abuse of laws, but since the day I started, I have consistently been meeting essentially fathers, but there are a lot of mothers as well, who have been alienated from their kids. So, uh, fine, a person can take care of their emotions and feelings to certain extent, but when there is a situation of divorce, how do parents ensure that children do not suffer? And with that question, I would also want to add there are a lot of people who hang on to a marriage because of kids, even though no matter how bad it has become, and it's definitely having a lot of impact and a negative influence on the kids, but then they will
Hmm.
still be, they'll still tag along with it. So, what do you think? Is that right? Is that wrong? And how do parents ensure that the children are not mentally affected when there's a situation of divorce?
Okay, so coming back to SEER programming. Okay, if you loop back to SEER programming, what was my programming? My programming was when my parents divorced. I see I come from a divorced family as well, right? So
Yeah.
when my parents got divorced, they were so kind to each other. They spoke with great respect to each other. Of course, they were hurting. They're humans. They are going to hurt. It's normal. There's nothing like a painless divorce. She was shattered. Papa went off. He was with Pareen Barbie. It was a different world. It was a different life. There was the media out there. There were public people. It was splashed all over the papers. It's publicly distressing as well. Plus, you have two little kids. Of course, it hurts. But they were always so decent and so respectful in speaking to each other and how they reacted and related to each other. Maturity. That's very, very important. Okay. We grew up with a different headspace. So for us, my parents moved on, they had different relationships, right? So what
Yeah.
happens? Are you taught to then hate the stepmother because she's a stepmother? That's SEER programming. What is my SEER
Mm.
programming? My SEER programming was, wow, your dad has found someone new. There's somebody more to love and somebody more to be loved by. So our programming was,
Mm.
wow, our family got bigger.
Hmm.
In my head and heart, our family got bigger and they were wonderful women. So these wonderful
Yeah.
women gave us so much of love, gave us attention, were really wonderful with us. So yes, my experience also taught me, along with my mental programming that said we have more to love. It was evident because of my experiences that there was more to love and be loved by. And for me, it was a happy, happy, happy space. I had Nikki, who there was Ishel, who came with my stepbrother Adam, was born. Again, it was like, oh, ek beta hua hai, abhi the attention will go from you, you'll be not wanted anymore, he has kids with the other woman. No, it was like, wow, our family got bigger, this, and I loved Adam, and I used to hug him, kiss him, and till date Adam and me are so, so, so close. My brother Siddharth died, he passed away, but Adam is there. So for me, I have a brother, and I love Adam. And then there came Nikki after, that came after Ishal. Papa's had other girlfriends as well. They've been wonderful, 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 wonderful women. And I've enjoyed my time with them. Even with Parveen, my papa's current wife, recently we had a bit of an altercation, but that's okay. Before when she came, it was wonderful. There was so much love and there was so much warmth and there was so much respect, and that is very, very essential. So now when my divorce happens, right, and I'm getting divorced, right, at that point of time, to me, in my head, my programming is still the same, that you're moving from a position of strength to strength, right? What am I telling my kids? I'm telling my kids, wow, more people come into your life to love and be loved by, and they are. My ex-husband got remarried. He has a child with his current wife, right? What did I do? I went with my kids for his marriage. We went, we danced, we had a great time, we had a wonderful time. People are a little shocked, Pooja, what are you doing at his wedding? And oh, what a big heart you have, Pooja. How big you are that you've come to your ex-husband's wedding. What a magnanimous soul. I said, hello, it's equally magnanimous of him to invite me and equally magnanimous of her to invite me. It's their wedding. They could have also been, but no, there's magnanimity on both sides. And there's respect on both sides, and maturity on both sides. And there I was at the wedding. Recently, my ex-husband turned 50 years old. His birthday party, of course, I was there. Of course, I was very much a part of the celebration. My birthday, they're a part of my celebrations because you're family. You can't dispute the fact that I'm the father of my kids. With all my exes, I have great rapport with all of them. But that's because there's love and there's respect and there's value for what was once. I appreciate the roles they've played. It didn't last. It's okay. It's fine. What now? What next? Do I want to live with hatred, anger, fury, disgruntlement? Do I want to live with that? No.
So Pooja, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm sorry to interrupt, Pooja, but I'm sure there would have been, like there are, like you said, there are good times and there are bad times as well. But unfortunately, what happens is that partners tend to focus more on that bad times, and then that's why I have so much of anger and hatred towards each other rather than thinking about the good times. So, in short, how do you address that? Or maybe when exactly you and Farhan were separating, and when it came to decision about Alaya and Umar, what was the discussion that both of you all did? I'm sure you would have sat down and discussed how it's going to be.
My father and mother, when they split up, sat us down and told us something very important. And they said, your mother and me are divorcing each other. Your father and me are divorcing each other. But we cannot divorce you because you're always going to be our children. Okay. They can choose to divorce each other. That's perfectly okay. Okay. You will always stay our children and we always love you. Now, what happens is the child feels safe and the child feels comforted and secure. Right. And that to me is the most important thing. You can't put kids on the planet and then torment them for your personal agendas and for your sense of wanting to hit out and lash out. Whatever your issues are with each other, you do that on a parent level, couple level, whatever level separately. The child should never suffer your decisions. It wasn't the child's decision to come on the planet. You put the child there. You owe it to the child to keep them well balanced, well grounded. As selfish as parents may be, when they're with the child, that poison the child's mind against the other. Your father's like this, your mother's like this, you're this one like that. One snide comment here, one snide comment there. Nothing goes unnoticed. And at the end of the day, it's like, oh, he went to this one's house, udhar usne mere paas ye bola. I'm also going to say shit stuff about that person because, I'm being poisoned, my kids are being poisoned there, even I'll poison my kids here. Poison, 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 poison. Poor child. What has a child done to deserve that? A child must respect both parents. A child is not being deluded or fooled. A child must respect both parents. And when the child is at an age and stage, they can accept and acknowledge and understand relationships, complexities of a relationship, reasons for divorce. At that point, you can let them in and let them get a glimpse of what you were going through. At that point, when the child is emotionally, mentally ready and mature to handle this kind of information without being warped by it. Right? You are human. You have a journey. It's important to share. But there's a time and a place for everything. And when children are small, it's not the time or the place for it. Right? You owe it to your children to keep them well balanced and keep them in a state where they are respectful of both parents because it's good for their emotional makeup, for their mental makeup, for their physical makeup in every possible way. You owe it to your child to keep your divorces positive.
Hmm. So, Pooja, let's talk a little bit about the timing arrangement. How, if I may, I know it's a little personal, but how did you divide the time between both of you all? How much time did Farhan spend with the kids? How much, and how did you come to that arrangement or agreement? How did that happen? And
Okay,
how
so
much would they spend time with their father?
when we were divorcing, of course, there was a question of the custody. Who's going to get the custody of the
Yeah,
kids? So I was like,
yeah.
when I take the kids, he said, what do you mean you take the kids? I'm going to take the kids. So I looked at him. And see, I have to tell you, I got divorced at a time when the laws weren't very women centric. I got divorced at a
Hmm.
time when I would be spending maybe years and years and lakhs and lakhs in court, only to be told I was probably going to get 10,000 rupees a month. Okay, which
Hmm.
was ridiculous because I gave up my career for him. I raised kids together. I set up his business with him. All of that was there. Fact is, I left my marriage with zero alimony. Okay, I didn't take a penny in alimony. There was an agreement between us about, the fact that he would take care of the kids' expenses. An agreement. It wasn't on paper. Okay, a very little tiny amount written on paper for the sake of it. There was just trust that he will take care of the kids because he's a good man, and of course he'll take care of the kids. There was an understanding. But when he said no, I'll take custody of the child. So I thought about it for a second, and I was like, okay, let's do this. So I said, you go to work every single day of your life, right? You go to work and you're a workaholic and you work and you'll travel and you this and that. So if you're going to be the sit-at-home parent who will actually take care of the kids and take care of their tuitions and their food and spend time with them and regale them with stories and take them to the park and take them swimming to the club, and you're going to be that parent, right? We can talk about it. But if you're going to be the kind of parent that then leaves the kids with the nanny or the staff or grandparents, then that's not fair. Then they deserve a
Hmm.
parent. I obviously am,
Yeah.
and I will always make time
Hmm.
to be that parent. So if you're going to be that sit-at-home parent, then we can discuss it. But if you're not going to be that parent, why are we depriving the kids of the joy of having a full-time parent who will be around? And I wasn't a full-time parent because I was working as well. But the fact is, at the end of the day, I spent a loads of time because my nature of my work was such. I could determine when I worked, when I didn't work. The shows I took on, the etc. I was fortunate in that aspect. But he understood the logic of it. And
Hmm.
we decided basically that Monday to Friday, I would keep the kids with me. They would go to him every weekend. And we did that
Okay.
like religiously. And it was agreed upon. It was also in the thing, the holidays. And the best thing you can do is have a good legal agreement. Okay. Everything is
Hmm.
crystal clear. Okay. And
Hmm.
what that does is women get very insecure. They want to use their child as a weapon, right? When I want, you're being bad to me, I'm not going to send the child. It's like a weapon you're always using, and chess is being played with this poor little pawn. And it's so unkind and it's so cruel. But if you look at it differently, if a woman chooses to see it differently and says, wow, I get the weekend to myself. I get the weekend to work on things I want to do, build my own self, do my own hobbies, go out and party, go out and socialize, go out and make friends, live a life, find someone beautiful and new in my life. And so saying the thing, hey, bache, 24/7 I'm with them. What does he know of my suffering? How does he know about what I'm being put through in my life? And, look what's happened in martyrdom and all this stuff that women do. It's ridiculous. You know, go out there, hand them over to your husband. What a great support system. Hand them over to the in-laws. What a great support system. I was so grateful because they went off to Farhan on the weekend and they were with him and they were with his parents, and I had the weekend all to myself. I got a great time out. I enjoyed myself, relaxed myself, refreshed myself, met all my friends, did all the stuff I wanted to do. And voila, Sunday evening they were back with me again, and it was
Wow.
sharing. So it should be, because the fact is we've had these two kids together. They're not my property. They're
Yeah.
human. They're human beings. And at
Yeah.
the end of the day, you
I
know,
think you
um,
made a very, I think you made a very nice point, Pooja. And if I may request, there are some people who are saying कि हम लोग कुछ questions पूछ रहे हैं, ये कब आंसर होंगे? I will definitely take your
we
questions
will,
in a
we
while.
will, we
मैं
will.
थोड़े से questions पूजा से
थोड़े
पूछ लूं, and
हैं.
then I will take the questions. Pooja, you said something really nice, and if we could have a little bit of conversation in Hindi as well, because there's somebody. So if we could mix Hindi and English,
Okay.
I think this whole point of treating kids as a property, and that I think comes
Mhm,
from a feeling of insecurity. तो ये जो
mhm,
लोगों के दिल में ये भर जाता है ना कि possessive, I guess, that possession ki they start treating their kids like a property, as if कि बच्चा नहीं है, एक human being नहीं है, वो एक property है जिसको आप possess करते हो, और उसकी वजह से उस possession में, although you think you are doing the right thing, but you're you know harming the
hampering the
child in
child.
so many ways with that possession. So And I think both fathers and mothers do it. That's a very human feeling, and I wouldn't say there's a specific gender who does that. What would your message be for people who do this? How?
Okay, so I'll give you an example. Okay, my fiance, okay, Manik, my fiance, he has an ex-wife and he has a child with his ex-wife. Okay, now it's been kind of on off on off. They've been divorced for about, I think, almost 10, 15 years, perhaps 10 to 12 years. They've been apart. Okay, divorced. Now, at times when she wants, the child is sent over to him. The child is almost 16, 17 years old today. Okay,
Hmm.
as per her decisions, the child is either sent or not sent, despite an agreement being in place of how much time he is supposed to spend with him, with Manik, etc., etc. It's almost like she used him like a weapon. If Manik's good to her, the child will go. If Manik, is on his own journey doing his own thing, the child is held back like a weapon. So, say for example, post their divorce, he had two other women in his life. It was like a very sneering attitude towards these women. I came into Manik's life, and suddenly it became threatening. Okay, suddenly became very threatening for her to send her child to an environment that was really beautiful, because she's programmed her son to believe his father's a loser. Her father's a loser, that sort of attitude. Now, when you programmed your child with that kind of headspace, it's not healthy for your child to feel, firstly, that his dad is a loser and that he's the son of a loser. Because what you're telling
Yeah.
your child is you're the son of a loser, right?
Hmm.
And basically it's so hurtful for a child to feel that about a father, or to have that put into his brain that my father is like this, when it's clearly not the case. His logical
Yeah.
mind can see his father's successful, his father's with a wonderful person, his father's living a great life, and his father's reaching out to him constantly to ask him, please come over, please spend time, let's have time together. His father's always reaching out to him, sending him messages, sending all of that, right? But if she's insecure and she doesn't want it, the father's a loser and the child is held back, to the point that son is now messaging saying, I don't want to meet you. Now, how hurtful is that to a father? It's
Yeah.
unacceptable that a father be kept away from his son because of personal insecurities or personal agendas or whatever it is. I mean, I've reached out to her. I've reached out saying, why don't you come with the son? Why don't we all have lunch together? Why don't we all meet up? And she was a friend of mine. I knew her prior to this. There was a respect level, you know, and
Hmm.
I reached out many times and saying, listen, this doesn't need to be this way. We can all be a happy family. Come and have lunch. His brother is down also. Let's all meet up. Let's all be a family. I've tried very hard. I put my best foot forward. But no, the agenda is clear. She doesn't want to start associating anymore with us. And that's
Hmm.
sad. And it's so unfair, not just to Manik, but to the son. Because I'm sure every child misses, loves, and needs a father. And the fact is, at
Yeah.
the end of the day, whatever I've seen through all the columns I've written along the last decade or so, eventually the child will turn up and be with the dad. Eventually, when the child grows up and there's a maturity level and there's an awareness and all of that, the child will suddenly see, oh my God, my father's a really cool man. My father's a really good man and doing really good things with his life. And he's a good person. He's so respected by everybody, except my mother. But because my mother
Yeah.
had these issues, I was kept away from a wonderful man who could have spent so many years loving me, nurturing me, putting me into a better headspace in my life, taking my life as a man to different levels, you know, and sharing that and the male energy part with him. And it's a yin yang balance. And the fact is, he's a loving parent. So what the son has missed out on is a very loving father for so many years of his life, because a mother has an issue with insecurity or jealousy or whatever it is, anger issues, whatever it is. But who's
Yeah.
suffering? The child is. Does the child deserve to suffer? No. See, when a woman is angry, who's suffering? She is. She
Yeah.
is the one who's filled with anger, hate, negativity, jealousy, insecurity, whatever, vindictiveness, whatever. It's going on in her head, right? Manik has moved on. Manik is in a very happy space. Manik is here having fun, enjoying life, enjoying great friends, enjoying his business, enjoying travel, enjoying everything. She's stewing with it, but she's now making the son stew with it. Is
Yeah.
that fair to the child? You want to have your dramas, you want to create your model of the world, you want to do all of that. Fair enough. Why are you hurting your child? Why are you
Yeah.
depriving your child of a wonderful man by convincing him his father's a loser and a bad man? But this is something that's not exclusive to Manik. It is many men's story. It is a story of many, many men who are out there,
Extraordinary number.
extraordinary number.
Extraordinary number.
Absolutely.
Extraordinary number. My
Absolutely.
very good friend, my very good friend, she is in a relationship with a man, of course, who has been separated from his wife for I think more than 18, 19 years now. And it's almost the same story, Pooja, that, she's suffering and she has brainwashed the son so much. And this man is so loving and he of course is paying for everything. But then now the boy is so poisoned against the father, and the father, he is his only child and he misses him so much.
Yeah.
And guess what? It's just so sad. I mean, uh, I'm sure, like just in your case, there can be a happy space where people can keep their insecurities a little at the
Absolutely.
back and think a little, like an open person, like a more mature person. So,
Yeah.
Pooja,
And
yeah, tell me, continue.
go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
So I was reading Alaya's interview, and she is, I think she's a very mature girl, and I love the
Thank you.
interviews that she gives. She's whether it's a talk on nepotism or anything, she's so balanced. So we all know about you, but what all have, like you said, it is both energies, yin and yang. So what have your kids taken from their father? What are the attributes or the traits that have come to them from Farhan? That you
Also,
see and you really admire.
you know, I want to rewind back a bit. This is at the time that we got divorced. Okay, and one day Alaya comes to me and says, "Mama, everybody's fathers stay with them. How come our papa doesn't stay with us?" I thought about it, like, what answer do I give? And the thing is, parenting doesn't come with a bloody manual. Neither does divorce.
Yeah,
You don't get this handbook that tells you how to decipher all this information and give it to the child of specific age group. And with different ages the answer changes. It's like with sex education, different answers at different ages and stages. So I looked at
right.
Alaya and I was like, baby, do you know when papa's in the house, there's all the shouting used to happen. She said, yeah, my ears used to pain. I said, exactly. I said, look now what happens. Is there any shouting? No. We are so happy. You go to papa's house, everything is so happy, right? Happy here, happy there. Everyone's happy. So she was like, yeah, that's true. And that was it. I was never asked again about anything, you know? So
Hmm.
then, of course, the fact is, Farhan and me go through ups and downs. It's not like we have a seamless, wonderful relationship that's always high. Through the years, with our parenting issues, we've had our fights. We've had our fights over the years, but it's our fight, right? It's
Yeah.
our fight. Grumpy, whatever, kids say, what happened? I fought with your father. You say, oh God, you guys will be fine in 5 days. You guys will be fine. Because they're used to it. They know I'll fight with him. They know we'll get upset. But in the end, he'll say, I'm Pooch. And I'll say, how, what? And we'll be sitting and chatting about something or the other. It's normal. It's okay. We have our differences. These things will arise. It's human and
Hmm.
it's normal. It's not going to be conflict free. Right. And then, of course,
Hmm.
whenever anyone gives a compliment to the kids, I'll say, my genes. If it's something like this, it's your father's genes. Okay. But I say it with a smile. I say it with a laugh. Everyone knows it's a joke, It's not like,
Hmm.
no, it's like, I laugh. All the good qualities are mine and my family, and everything bad, all Farhan, all those negative qualities. I will give them laugh. Okay. But the fact is, he's a wonderful man and he's a fabulous father. And at the end of the day, he's been given the liberty and the license to be that father. He could have also been somebody who cut off, and he has a very temperamental mind, and he's somebody who can be very hot-headed, but no matter what our fights, the love for the kids will always be there, and that
Yeah.
must be respected and valued. So it's like, over the years when we've had our fights and we had our differences, I've really not told my kids anything about why we got divorced, what the reasons were, etc. They don't need to know, right? At that point in their life, as they grow older, when they reach their late teens, early 20s, at that point of time, I was able to sit down with them and talk to them differently. But that's because our equations have changed, our natures have changed, our realities have changed, our maturity levels have changed, right? We're able
Right.
to address all the anger and all the residue of the past, right? Today we can
Hmm.
discuss differently. So with Alain Omar, I'd say the nicest thing they've also got is the fact that he's a very loving person, and yeah, he's a very strong-headed man. And Alain's definitely got really, I mean, I'm a very stubborn person as well, and I'm really strong-headed and strong woman of today, but her father's an equally strong man. He's got a good business sense. I wish my two children got his business sense. I really wish they'd got his business savvy. I think they just spend more time with him and get his business savvy as well. He's a very good businessman.
I'm sure he's still there with them. So I'm sure he would take care of all their decisions and guide them through, throughout.
Of course.
There are times, especially when kids are small, Pooja, जब उनको यूं थोड़ा सा यूं लगता है कि यार कि मुझे नहीं, they're little hesitant, even if the parents are like really, cordial with each other in arrangements. There are times when kids say कि मुझे नहीं मिलना है, मुझे नहीं जाना है, and it becomes a little bit of a tantrum of the child. So how do parents deal with situation like that?
Firstly, why would the child not want to go? If they're going to a
Hmm.
place that's happy and a place that's fun and they get variation, why would the child not want to go? One thing kids hate is monotony. Okay, kids hate monotony. Bore ho rahe, mama, bore. What can I do? So if you're giving them an option to go somewhere else, change their environment, change their zone, change their space, they're going to a space where they're going to have fun. Why would they not want to go? So you have to talk to that
Hmm.
parent and say, listen, I think it's time we make things a little more fun. Okay, so they really want to go and they say, when are we going? When are we going? When are we going? Right? Because
Yeah,
they're kids.
that's true.
Kids will only look at fun. Kids cry. You show them a lollipop, they're distracted. Oh, lollipop. Kids are like that. They're very, very fragile minds. They're very easy to distract. Right, so it's
Hmm.
very easy to turn around and give your child something to look forward to. So whether storytelling or whether it's a walk in the park or let's go and play or let's go play ball or let's go do some. If you're making it fun and engaging for the child, of course the child will want to come. But if you're calling them home because it's your time with the child, ghar aao, and then you're making mummy, daddy sit with them and saying, say with your grandparents, and then they're sitting there and the energy is much older and they're much younger and they're getting bored, they don't know what to do, and say, don't look at your mobile phones, don't do this, don't do that, which they're used to doing and having a certain thing. You have to integrate their reality with your reality, their needs with your needs, because at the end of the day, they're coming into your home and your space with their own bubble. Right.
Right.
So how to integrate that and not seem like they're coming to an alien land, or they're not going to a place that is now against everything that is normal for them. So whether it's mobiles, or whether it's talking a certain way, or whether it's behaving a certain way, or whether it should just be natural to them to float from one into the other without feeling that they're going to alien land where they're told not to do this, not to do this, not to do this. Abhi 2 din ke liye aaye ho, abhi mobile ko chodo, ye chodo, wo chodo. No, make it so much fun they don't want to look at the mobiles. Have timings for everything. Make it different,
Hmm.
make it welcoming
Right.
for them. Yeah, that's very
Right.
important.
So, Pooja, you have been writing about the relationships and marriages and divorce for quite some time. So, have you had a conversation with kids who are, whose parents are divorced or separated? Have you ever got a chance to listen to what are the emotional ups and downs that they go through, especially when the parents are at war with each other? And if you can talk, and again people are requesting to talk in Hindi, so if you can shed a little light on किस तरह से एक बच्चे का जो दिमाग है या उसका दिल है, अगर पेरेंट्स इस तरह से बिहेव करते हैं एक दूसरे के लिए बहुत ज्यादा, दे आर एट वॉर विद ईच अदर, कैसे मेंटली इम्पैक्ट करता है बच्चों को? हैव यू, इफ यू कैन शेयर सम any experiences or
Yeah,
anything that you
I
came
have
across?
I've had many children जो मेरे पास काउंसलिंग के लिए आए हैं. बहुत सारे बच्चे हैं जो उनके पेरेंट्स मुझे they send them to me to say, listen, just talk to our child and see how we can work our child. They're getting depressed, they're getting sad, they're getting whatever. And again with parents, this word depression is thrown in all the time, very very loosely. This word depression, it's become a fashionable
Yeah,
word also. Depression, anything is
I
depression.
know.
You're sad, depressed है. Sitting there bored, depressed है. So they're feeling lonely, depressed है. Feeling frustrated, depressed है. Everything is a word depressed. It's not. Depression is something clinical, and depression is something that should be clinically treated. Right? It's totally different from the other emotions, sadness, anger, loneliness, pain, grief. There's different emotions altogether. So, first you have to turn around and acknowledge that your child is human. Okay, and for the child that comes in for this counseling session, they've come in because there's a real cry for help somewhere. Right? And a lot of them are very confused in how to handle their parents. Some of the children actually come in, they are very grateful that their parents are split up. They're very grateful because there was so much of infighting, so much of bad blood, so much, some of the, they were hitting each other, there was violence, there was all sorts of things. So a lot of children are very traumatized by what happened, not so much the divorce. They're traumatized by what they've seen prior to the divorce. That has created a
Yeah.
whole mental thing in them that they don't want to be married. A lot of kids are like, मुझे तो कभी शादी नहीं करनी है लाइफ में. मेरे पेरेंट्स देख देख के कि कितने झगड़े थे, ये थे, वो थे, better they're separated. Nobody should ever get married. Okay, then they see the laws, they see the courts, they see the whole system. They're like, system is not there for you. Why get married when the system is so lax? The
Yeah.
more higher up, the elder children speak about things like that. Um, and then they talk about relatives. The relatives are saying this. If the parents are trying to be positive, the relatives are putting thoughts in their mind. Mommy and daddy are trying to be respectful to each other. When you go to grandfather's house, they are the ones saying, "Mummy ऐसी थी, ये." From that side, from this side, they get, "Papa ऐसे थे, उसने ऐसा किया, जाओ ही मत उधर, क्या फायदा जाके, इधर ही रहो, जाना ही मत, वो corrupt कर लेंगे आपको." So the grandparents are the ones then, or the relatives are there, or there's this sympathy and sadness. Are beta, tum theek ho, tumhara family toot gaya. So this whole amplification of something being negative, sad, horrible, and that basically creates a big psychosis for them. And that is something that needs to be avoided. Again, with SEER programming. So you turn around and say, all right, change the SEER programming. Tell everybody, like I told everybody in my orbit, including my staff. I had a maid, Benny, who was with me since the time Alaya was 6 months old. Okay, she's been with us now 22 years, right? At
Wow.
that point in time, her whole thing was typical from the villages. तलाक हो रहा है, बाप रे बाप, क्या होगा बच्चों का सोचो, हाय, दूसरी औरत आ गई उसकी जिंदगी में, बाप रे बाप, all this sort of stuff, I'm like, इट्स सो नाइस, अच्छा है ना कि उसकी जिंदगी में कोई है, अच्छा है कि कोई अच्छी आ गई उसकी जिंदगी में, मुझे नहीं चाहिए, अच्छा है कि कोई और आ जाए उसकी जिंदगी में, ये नहीं कि मैं उसके लिए पाइन कर रही हूँ और फिर कोई आ गया उधर, नो, आई डोंट वांट, so let's let somebody else come in that place. Like Benny, you have to change your way of thinking, and if I once also hear you saying sympathy and ye kya ho gaya and all that melodrama, like some Balaji teleproduction or whatever, that is not going to be accepted in my house.
Yeah.
So,
एंड आई डोंट नो व्हाई पीपल थिंक कि ये बहुत ज्यादा डिफिकल्ट है करना. इतना डिफिकल्ट नहीं होता है. आई थिंक आप सिर्फ एक पॉजिटिव सोच रखो कि ठीक है, मतलब इतना कोई पहाड़ नहीं गिर गया है, मतलब अगर ऐसा हो जाता है.
सबको ये दख्यानुसी ख्यालात जो उनके दिमाग में बैठा है ना कि डिवोर्स खराब है, कि दूसरी औरत सौतन है, नई वाइफ आ गई मींस आपका रोल खत्म, नए बच्चे आ गए मींस आपकी जिंदगी में अभी you have no place in your father's life because new children have come in his path, that's all bullshit, it's all bullshit, and you will manifest that reality. आपकी reality बस वही है जो आप create करते हैं. आपको क्या रियलिटी चाहिए? आपको पॉजिटिव रियलिटी चाहिए या नेगेटिव रियलिटी? छोड़ो जो बुजुर्ग लोग करते थे, जो बुजुर्ग लोग के ख्यालात थे, जो पहली दफा जो पास्ट में लोग सोचते थे डिवोर्स के बारे में. आज डिवोर्स कलंक नहीं है. यू लुक अराउंड, सबका डिवोर्स हो रहा है. क्यों हो रहा है इतने सारे डिवोर्सेस? क्योंकि लोग ये समझ पाए हैं अभी कि मोनली दैट वी डोंट वांट चॉइसेस थ्रस्ट अपॉन अस, वी हैव आवर ओन लाइव्स. हम जब डिवोर्स करते हैं, काउंसलिंग सेशंस होते हैं. शादी करने के टाइम काउंसलिंग सेशंस होने चाहिए. इतने सारे लोग ये मैरिजेस में अरेंज्ड मैरिजेस होना चाहिए, बेस्ट अरेंज्ड मैरिजेस. ओके, ग्रेट, if it works, great. If it's not working, turn around and tell your parents, listen, you made the wrong choice for me. I allowed you. मेरी choice थी to allow you to make that choice for me, but now I'd like to make other choices for myself, and I'd like to change my life for the better. It's as simple as that. You made the choices, but they were bad choices, and take responsibility. You allowed the choices. A lot of women say, "Pata nahi, mere papa ne mujhe force kiya." It's always your choice. To be helpless is also a choice. Right. You allow yourself to be helpless. There are many people out there who go and do their own thing and they live their own lives. Yeah, you wanted the glamour, you wanted the family, you wanted the drama, you wanted all that. You wanted it, so you did it. Accept responsibility for what happened and accept responsibility for what is going to happen. Yeah, it's your life. These are your choices. Yeah, there are people do remarkable things with their lives.
Absolutely. Pooja, just to sort of sum it up, what do you think is the most traumatic or most negative or most depressing thing about parental alienation? There are a lot of parents who completely alienate the child from their other parent, and I don't know how their conscience allows them to do it. लेकिन आज के टाइम पे ऐसी बहुत सारे लोग हैं जो अपने बच्चे को दूसरे पेरेंट से बिल्कुल तोड़ देते हैं, मतलब रिश्ता ही तोड़ देते हैं, जैसे कभी कुछ था ही नहीं, जैसे वो उनके बच्चे नहीं है. उन पेरेंट्स को क्या बोलना चाहोगे पूजा? What would your message be?
Changes. One is that the journey of themselves. Firstly, the parent who's being the selfish parent and keeping the child with themselves, with this man or woman. Okay, keeping the child with them. That selfish parent must understand that they are the ones seething with rage, anger, negativity, which is why they're not allowing the child to go to the other parent. Right? They have this SEER programming that is just so negative that they're only hurting themselves. Firstly, they're hurting themselves with having these thought processes, because day in and day out, when they see the child, they will always see the mother or the father of that child, in that child. and it's representative of the other person. It took two people to create that one child, right?
Yeah.
So firstly, you are skewing with that. Secondly is the concept of karma, okay, which I firmly believe in. At the end of the day,
Yeah.
you are hurting. You're hurting another person. You're hurting a parent, and you're hurting
Yeah.
that child. Okay,
Yeah.
that's the second thing. You're hurting people deliberately. You are choosing to hurt people for your own grief and your own anger and your own sadness, which is very valid. But get over it, because nobody needs to suffer. Not you, not the other parent, and not that child. Okay. Third thing is the child itself. Okay, you are warping that child who you claim you love. If you love that child, अगर आप उस बच्चे से actually दिल और दिमाग से प्यार करते हो, you would want to see them happy and secure with the other parent. You would want them to have both parents and the love of both parents. You would not deprive them of a biological parent who loves them because of your insecurities and your jealousies and your pettinesses. That child does not deserve to grow up feeling like they are the child of a loser, the child of somebody bad, the child of somebody who's a terrible person. No, don't do that to your child. Your child deserves to respect both parents. Your child, if they go mentally crazy, it's because you are the one putting those thoughts in their head of what a terrible parent they have, what a terrible thing they have, what a terrible product of what terrible person that was once their father or mother, right? You are warping your child. When you see all these people going a little berserk, a little crazy, the word depression that we use, sadness, anger, pain, people who are little, what's the word, tardy in society, etc., etc., it's because they're agitated inside. These children are
Yeah.
agitated. It's normal. अगर अगर आप बार-बार किसी को ठोस-ठोस के बात करोगे, कोस-कोस के बात करोगे कि पापा ऐसा है या मम्मी ऐसी है या ऐसा-ऐसा है, उस चाइल्ड के अंदर क्या गुज़र रही होगी? क्या बीत रही होगी उस चाइल्ड के मन में? आप सोचिए। और आप बार-बार जैसे आप कर रहे हो, फैमिली कर रही है या तो दोस्त कर रही है या तो रिलेटिव्स बोल रहे हैं कि ऐसा है, ऐसा है, ऐसा है, पापा ऐसा है, माँ ऐसी है, दिस ऐसा है, दैट्स सोचिए आप उस बच्चे के साथ क्या कर रहे हैं? उस वो बच्चा जो है उसके दिमाग में जो चल रहा है, उसके शरीर के अंदर जो चल रहा है, वो एंगर, वो इरिटेशन, वो सैडनेस, वो पेन जो आपका बच्चा एक्सपीरियंस कर रहा है, क्यों? और आप कहते कि आई लव यू सो मच बेटा, योर फादर्स बैड, योर मदर्स बैड, आई लव यू बेटा. इफ यू लव योर चाइल्ड, मेक योर चाइल्ड हैप्पी एंड सिक्योर एंड confident and peaceful, and look at his parents, the people who gave birth to him or her. Respect and love. I have amazing parents, so I must be amazing. Both my parents are amazing. I am a product of two amazing people.
Yeah.
That is the way to raise your child. That is your responsibility to your child.
Absolutely. And like you rightly said, Pooja, I think the biggest drawback of an environment like that is कि इन बच्चों के दिल में रिलेशनशिप से, ट्रस्ट से, मतलब ये सारे जो ह्यूमन इमोशंस होते हैं वो कहीं ना कहीं इतने ज्यादा इम्पैक्ट हो जाते हैं that they become really a little hollow inside, you know. They are not able to feel life completely.
And
Yeah.
fearful. They're
They
fearful
lose.
of relationship. मेरे साथ भी ऐसा होगा. अगर मैंने शादी की, मेरे बच्चे हैं तो मेरे बच्चों के साथ भी ये होगा. You know, they take my child away. This will happen. That the child doesn't want to experience the anger, the pain, the frustration, the sadness. It's better to stay away from marriage. You know, or he
Right.
becomes a fractured person. Do you want that for your
Right.
child? You love so much. Is that really love? Taking out your
Yeah.
frustrations, your inner agendas, your power trips, your holding on to the child, I'm so lovely, he's so bad or she's so bad, and I'm the best, and that person's a demon. Is that,
Yeah.
and you say you love your child.
Yeah. So Pooja, I'm going to, before we come, we'll take very few questions. I'm going to have just last two questions, a little bit on legal side. One is, do you think? No, I'll come to that later in the end. My question before that is, so now there are court agreements for visitation, particularly, and let's accept the fact that overwhelmingly custodial parent happens to be a mother, and fathers are usually, you know, have visitation rights, or kids can go to them. और किसी ने अभी
Yeah.
यहाँ पे कमेंट्स में भी एक बहुत सही चीज बोली, हमारे इंडियन कोर्ट्स जहाँ पे विजिटेशन एक्चुअली होती है ज्यादातर फादर्स की अपने बच्चों के साथ, these courts are so bad, matlab
Yes.
it's such a bad environment over there. I don't know why, you know, such an courts allow something like this to happen. But anyway, so the question is, there's some times where some parents disobey the courts, and
Yes.
even though visitation rights हैं और एक proper parenting plan है या timing arrangements अगर pre decided है, फिर भी कुछ parents ऐसा करते हैं कि मैं तो नहीं ला सकती हूँ, मैं तो नहीं लेके जाऊंगा, या ये हो गया या वो हो गया, मतलब हमेशा बहाने. And
Yeah.
it goes on and on and on, and the other parent, no matter how frustrated that parent is and so deprived, हमारी courts बहुत ज्यादा इस चीज को seriously नहीं लेती हैं. तो do you think there needs to be some fine, or some kind of making the other parent realize who is doing this that you're being wrong and you need to be corrected, or some sort of
Absolutely.
you know
You're absolutely right, Deepika, because the same thing has happened with Manik. He has visitation rights. It's clearly written at the number of days the child is supposed to meet him, the number of holidays that Manik is entitled to have with his son. It is there. She doesn't permit it. She has now brainwashed the child to messaging and saying, I don't want to have this holiday with you. What are you going to do? You're going to go to court and I'll go in front of the judge and say, I don't want to meet you. But why? Manik says, what have I done? Have I been a bad parent? Have I hurt you? Have I said anything to you? Do I not make you have the maximum amount of fun? Am I not loving? What is the reason you would not want to meet me? But the fact is, the child has been poisoned or brainwashed or being, held against, whatever the reasons are. The fact is, it's unfair. And the fact is that, yes, if court systems were more proactive, if courts actually took stock of the fact that they're raising a whole nation of people who are fractured because the divorce rates are rising. It wasn't an epidemic when the divorce rates weren't high. Today, the divorce rates are high. This is a new epidemic of fractured people coming out into society, emotionally fractured, mentally fractured, right? We need to talk of this whole new breed, this whole new generation that's coming to society, fractured emotionally. And we as a society need to be proactive about it. And our court systems need to validate the role of each parent in that child's life and what the parent is bringing into that child's life. Not just in terms of money, but in terms of love, care, attention, emotional balance, and all of that. And yes, we need fast track courts. We need courts that make speedy decisions on these matters. We need courts that put forward stringent punishments to the other parent for such matters. We need that. We need to have that in place. We need to have a body that actually works for people, not just get them divorced, but also uphold the terms of the divorce. Because they're people, as I said, that are being nurtured to be fractured, broken human beings who are letting out into society as fractured, broken human beings. Because the courts are not upholding these things, or don't have processes in place to help parents, to help the parents and the children who must be dying to see their parents but are unable to.
All right. My last question, sort of, Pooja. Now, there have been a lot of petitions on shared parenting in the Supreme Court, and fortunately or unfortunately, obviously, there are women's rights groups who have essentially said that, and there was a whole report by a retired judge, I'm forgetting the name of, but there was an entire report written on shared parenting and why it should be implemented, or and things like that. And there was sort of an opposition, or uh, the essential argument is that mothers who basically have the custody of the children are usually victims of domestic violence, so they shouldn't be forced to comply to the parenting agreements or shared parenting, and allowing the father to have a say.
These issues need to be discussed at the time of divorce in front of the judge in the court, as to why the parenting rights should not be given. But once the parenting rights are given, there should be no violation of them. If it is proven in court that there is domestic abuse and violence, etc., and therefore the parent cannot possibly see the child, or there is sexual abuse or whatever it is, right? If that is proved in court and the parent is by virtue of law said, no, I'm sorry, you cannot have the rights to see the child unless someone is accompanying the child, etc., then that is a court decision at that point. But once the decision has been taken as to what days the child is going to visit the father, then I'm sorry, you can't suddenly turn around and say, oh, there was this and oh, there was that. Sorry, the terms that were agreed upon need to be upheld. That's what court laws are for. That's what agreements are there for. That's the purpose of an agreement.
Do you think it's time for our courts to actually recognize shared parenting in its truest form and make all efforts to implement that beautifully?
I think it's time for our courts to recognize a lot of things. Firstly is this whole women's rights groups that go out there and obstruct, men from seeing their children. I'm sorry, that can't be an authentic group in that case, because no women's rights group would want to see children affected because of a woman's conflict with her husband. Okay, what is in the best interest of the child, that needs to be seen, irrespective of her personal agendas. Okay,
Right.
women's rights doesn't mean blindly supporting a woman. If the child is a girl, aren't you supporting that child's right? That child is also a woman.
Yeah.
Why not supporting her rights to a father, her rights to this thing? Why are you not supporting her rights?
Correct.
No,
True.
at the end of the day, a women's rights group is there for justice, not to take sides and say I'm anti-men by virtue of being pro-women. Being pro-women does not mean anti-men. I've said that time and time and again on all my shows. I talk about equality of genders. That's the reason I take up.
Yeah.
Yes, the fact is there were laws that came up to help women against, say dowry or against domestic abuse, or for example, with in-laws and being tortured by in-laws. There were laws that came into place, good laws, valid laws, important laws. And women went and misused those laws. Women's rights groups, if they truly worked for women, should have gone out there and punished women who misuse those laws, not stood by every
Yeah.
woman who supported that.
Correct.
Women's rights
Absolutely.
groups need to be pro-women, not anti-men. And this is something very,
Yeah.
very important that courts need to take notice of. The amount of abuse of those laws, even in terms of rape laws, my friend Karan went through. Abuse. You misreport a rape. You have the right to file it. You have the right to defame people. I'm sorry, by virtue of being a woman does not always make you right. And it's not
Yeah.
fair to go out there and get a whole nation of fractured children come here because women feel that the laws are on their side and the laws are too lax to implement any punishment against them for not living up to the end of the agreement. I'm sorry, you can't have your cake and eat it too. It's not acceptable. Not if you want a healthy society. Not if you want to have a society that's empowered. Not if you want to see children grow up to be healthy, to be normal, to be caring, to be kind, to be loved, and spread that love and joy. As I said, you can only spread what's inside you. If all that's put inside you is anger, rage, frustration, jealousy, negativity, that's all you're going to bubble with. We need
Yeah.
children out on the planet that are filled with goodness and love and happiness and stability. That's what we need for the children of today. Because as I said, the divorce was not a very common thing 30 years ago.
Yeah.
It is. And we need to take stock of the fact that we are breeding a whole bunch of kids in a very,
Yeah.
very negative manner by virtue of laws
I
not.
really hope we have more women like you, Pooja, who are so balanced in their thoughts, who are empowered, who are progressive, who are independent, who are so successful, but still their basics are so clear, and they would who understand that it's not right to take advantage of what's been given to you for a very valid reason. We are going to take some questions, and any everybody who's watching it, you can put the questions now, and I'll be taking your questions. We'll take few questions, Pooja.
Okay.
Uh,
Yes, sip some tea.
okay, somebody is asking how to be accepting of stepkids.
Just love them. The basic for everything is love. See, you have to understand one thing. A marriage didn't work because either one person or both people decided it wasn't working. Right? Generally, what happens if it's working for one person and they're leading a cushy life is a shock to their system. Why the hell is the other person gone? That's when the rage and whatever starts. It's fine. You work through those problems, you work through the issues. Now that person goes and finds another person. That other person goes and finds another person, right? Firstly, I have to say one more thing. If the child is in your custody, it's that much harder for that parent to get a life because the child now is all about the parent, and suddenly it becomes about needing to be with that parent. The child is jealous for anyone else who comes into their space because you've been told that, that's again seer programming, that the other person is going to take your place and going to take away your love and going to take away all of that. It's not true. If you have two children, or if you have three children, will you love one child less? No,
No.
right? The same way,
Yeah.
if for that father they have two children with one person and one child through another person, they're still going to love all three children because it's their child. They may spend more time with the current child. They may spend more quality time with the current child. But the love for the children, all the children will always be the same. Right. So say for
Yeah.
example, if there's say for example, if Manik's son is there and he comes home, I'm so happy to see him because in my programming, more to love and more to be loved by. Right.
Yeah.
So in my
Yeah.
stepmoms, when they saw me, they didn't see me as a threat because I was, his daughter from another woman. They just saw me as Pooja, and they were so good to me. And till date, we are such great friends. Me and all my stepmoms. It's like Ishel, she's a aromatherapist, and she's doing the books in alchemy and helping me with blogs for my current site. And Nikki and me are always in touch. So it's really sweet. But they didn't see me as daughter of the other woman. It was such a special
And
bond.
it's very strange, Pooja, when people actually talk. For example, I have grown up, reading about Mr. Kabir Bedi and all that was happening in Bedi family. And there's this really strange thing. Now that we are talking about it, people are like, ये तो ना अंग्रेजों की फैमिलीज में होता है, ये भारतीयों की फैमिली में नहीं होता है,
तो हाँ, हाँ,
so there's
हाँ, ठीक
so
है,
much
तो
of this
हाँ,
notion.
नहीं नहीं, तो एक बात ये भी है कि पापा जो थे इंडियन थे, मम्मी जो थी वो भी इंडियन थी, माय ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स वर वेरी वेरी इंडियन एज कैन बी, राइट? सो इट्स नॉट क्वेश्चन अंग्रेजों के फैमिली में होता है। ये डिवोर्स जो है ना वेस्टर्न अफ्लिक्शन है, डिजीज है, डिवोर्स इज अ वेस्टर्न डिजीज। नो, इट्स नॉट। It's a human experience where laws today are empowering you to make that shift and transition to change your life, right?
Yeah,
Divorce is not a stigma anymore. Divorce is not illegal. There's no reason people in bad marriages should not be divorced. So if you can say that the अंग्रेजों का style है, तो divorce भी अंग्रेजों का style है. But no, human experience है, एक human
hmm,
journey है. Okay, so
yeah,
firstly मैं सोच रहा हूँ कि अंग्रेजों का लाइफ, ये एटीट्यूड अगर आप सोचो अंग्रेजों का है, प्लीज अडॉप्ट इट बिकॉज इट्स पॉजिटिव। आप क्या चाहते
yeah,
हो? नेगेटिव माइंडसेट से रहो, कहो कि ये इंडियन है एंड ये वेरी ओपन हैप्पी फ्री, जो एम्पावरिंग माइंडसेट है वो अंग्रेजों का है। नो, व्हाई कांट अ एम्पावरिंग ब्यूटीफुल माइंडसेट बी इंडियन? बिकॉज इट इज।
correct,
We are taught,
absolutely,
what does Buddhism teach? Love, compassion. What do our Vedas teach? What do our Shastras teach? Goodness, kindness, decency, acceptance, right? These are all the
yeah,
words we've grown up with, right?
yeah,
And who say
absolutely,
America people aren't mean or and bad to the exes? They are there also. It's a human journey. It's
yeah,
the same. It's how you respond to a situation that's important. Now, if you say being positive and proactive is Western, it's your loss because you can
yeah,
adopt the same attitude without giving it a geography because it's a human experience. I'm not American
right,
because I'm happy my husband's with another woman and he's met a wonderful woman and he has a child with that woman. It just makes me a happier person to see him happy. He's the father of my
yeah,
children. If my family
correct,
got bigger,
yeah,
it's not a Western mindset. It's a loving mindset. And why can't Indians
right,
be loving people? Why do Indians have to be divisive all the time? That's a problem with us, right? We're all into this divisive politics, casteism, geography,
yeah,
this religion, that culture, this language, this food, our people, our types, your types, their types. Rich people are this way, poor people are this way. All these mindsets. We have good Jews are this way, this ones are this way, Punjabis are this way, Sindhis are this way. We are always dividing ourselves instead of just accepting everything as humanity, accepting ourselves as Indian, right? I come somebody say, oh, you can't call yourself Goan because you're not from Goa, and hysteria and all. What's going on here? Why can't you say welcome to Goa? How nice to have you
yeah,
here. It's
correct,
like why does the mindset always have to be pushing away protection of yourself? There's no need for it. We can be such a
yeah.
happy planet. We can be such a happy India, right? And the part of
I
all
think
the
people keep all kind of things on in their priority list at the top, and I think everybody wants to be happy, but things that actually make you happy, they always keep it on the bottom list.
And
They,
why should we say that a positive mindset is an American one or a foreign one? How sad!
yeah,
How sad to say
I
that
know,
people who are happy and accepting are not from our country. That's what they're saying. So
yeah,
the belief system is that if you're Indian, you can't be accepting, happy, and positive. That's
yeah,
ridiculous. I refuse to believe
I
that. I
know,
believe countries of country of people who are loving and accepting and positive. And I've seen enough people around me who are that way. I've seen wonderful divorces. I've had people come to me and say, I'm a counselor. So I get people coming to me saying, Pooja, we want to have a happy divorce. Can you help us? And I'm like, I
wow,
love
so sweet,
and I love that. I think it's wonderful. And I've
yeah.
had people say, can you help us be divorced happily? Because our kids matter. And I think that is so positive because they've
I think
decided that they want to be divorced.
happy soul should have a parallel business then, Pooja. Happy divorces, huh? I think that's a great idea, I guess, honestly. So there's one more question and a very relevant question. This person says, there are times when the other parent is really poisoning the child, and this is of course coming from a father. He's saying, what do you do if you get to know that your ex-spouse is poisoning the child? How
Okay.
to deal with
First,
it?
first thing is you don't reciprocate the same favor because that makes you no different from that person. Okay. So
Yeah,
you don't double poison that child to say your mother this because you know what? Your thing to your child should always be this. I know your mother's going through a bad time. She's probably going through a bad headspace. It's okay. She'll get over it. It's right now she's filled with negativity. Right now she's filled with anger. I hope she gets over it soon. I love you. When you're here, let's just have a good time. Yeah. And and if you keep it positive, the child will start resonating with you in that manner. Right. And the child comes in, Mama said this about you, Mama said that about you, Mama said this, Mama said that. Then I say, really? That's so sad that she's in such a bad headspace. I hope that she gets, into a happier headspace soon. It's not good for her to be like that. In fact, when you go back home, tell your mama you wish that she could be happier and more positive. I really wish that for her. So the
Hmm.
moment you start putting that out, she'll feel bad after sometimes saying things after things. A child's coming home saying, Dad wishes you were more happier, Dad wishes you were more positive, Dad wishes you were happier, Dad wishes you were more positive. She's going to feel terrible about being this negative person at some point. One time,
Yeah,
two times, three times.
hopefully.
Every time the child goes back and says, Dad really wishes you were happier and more positive, Mom. And the mom will start feeling, yeah, what the hell am I going on about? Dad is happy, Dad is doing his own thing. And Dad should say, see, look at us. We're happy, we're moved on, we're doing well. I really wish her well. Full stop.
Hmm.
The child sees nothing but grace and goodness coming from you. The child sees nothing but compassion, love, and kindness, and the fact he's wishing well for the other person. The father's a hero.
Right. So this person is asking, in cases of single parents, how can young boys have a healthy father figure, and how can a young girl have a healthy motherly figure? So who do they look up to, when they are when there are it's a single parent?
Listen, right now we're in a digital era of TikTok and what have you. They will find their own examples and the people they want to be fascinated
I
by. You
know,
are not
absolutely.
their role model, and you will never be their role model. You can be a good influence on them. You can give them the right SEER programming. You can teach them the right attitudes, the right perspectives. You can teach them to be happier people, to be positive people. I always say, as a parent, you can't control what's going to happen in your child's life. Right? You can control what you can do is shape how they respond to things. You give them coping skills, right? These are important. So when they go back and they deal with a bitter parent, give them coping skills for that. Okay, when a child is going out there and is encountering love issues, you give them coping skills for that. You can't protect your child from the fact they will have a heartbreak, or they will have failures, or they will have whatever. You teach them the coping skills. That's your job as a parent. You cannot control their
Right.
life. You cannot control them. So very importantly, just tell yourself this: you may not be the role model. Who knows? Right? If you are the role
Yeah.
model, work at it and be the best bloody role model. If not, if they've chosen someone from the film industry or sports world or TikTok, wherever they found their wow, this I want to be like this person. Good luck to them. Teach them coping skills. Yeah, don't fix it.
Right. Okay, somebody is asking again about prenups. I think we'll restrict the conversation to shared parenting right now. Prenups are not really valid in India except Goa, I guess.
Are
Yeah.
they?
So yeah, Goa accepts prenuptials. So last question, Pooja, that this has also come from somebody. What would your advice be? And this is we are going to end this conversation after this. What is your honest advice to our lawmakers when it comes to the idea of co-parenting?
Firstly, they must acknowledge and realize that divorce is steadily rising in our country. So, therefore, if there is a situation that is getting more and more and more and more of an issue, laws need to be formulated to deal with them before it becomes a situation that is out of control. There are many, many lives, lakhs of lives being affected negatively and detrimentally as a result of lax enforcement of laws and agreements. Right. So, my only not just in terms of shared parenting, but in terms of even dowry and fake cases and all of that, it is something lawmakers need to seriously take a good look at and say, all right, we created this law, there are loopholes in this, there's a misuse of these laws, or there's a lack of enforcement of these laws. We need to figure ways to put those into place, because the idea is not just to create the laws, the idea is to be a fair society. That's the reason we created those laws in the first place. So if those laws
Right.
that are meant to be fair are being misused and therefore become unfair to a large section of society, then there's a serious problem with that law being created in the first place. Yeah.
Right.
So my real appeal to the lawmakers out there is to first recognize that situations in this country have changed, to recognize that women aren't really the angels sometimes that we would love them to be and hope them to be, but there are enough, not just enough, multitudes of cases in lakhs and lakhs of numbers where these laws are being misused and not upheld. Yeah. So what you
Right.
really need to take stock of is the enormity of the situation, and laws need to cater to the enormity of the situation, because we are here to protect our population. Right. We're not here. The reason we formulate these laws is to empower a society. Right. And an
Yeah.
empowered society is empowered on every single level. right? Be compassionate, be humane. It's not always about politicking and vote banks and catering to the women lobby and catering to this lobby and catering to that lobby. We're dealing with real human beings here. We're talking about citizens of this country. We're talking about fathers. We're talking about children. We're talking about mothers. Yeah. Let's
Yeah,
have compassion in our laws. Let's have action in our laws. Let's have laws that work for us here. Why just create
true.
laws to make a group feel good? At
I know.
put laws in place that work, that are effective and fair to everybody involved. Yeah, it's very
Absolutely.
important. We need to take stock of this.
All right. Thank you so much, Pooja. Everybody is also saying thank you. And I loved a comment where somebody said, Pooja Bedi is the kind of women's right activist we actually need. So
Oh, thank you.
I totally, totally agree. And thank you so much, everyone who has joined for this discussion. Thank you so much, Pooja, for taking out time. I'm sure there would be a lot of people who would take a lot of things away from this discussion. Uh, Congratulations and good luck for Happy Soul doing
Thank
amazing,
you.
amazing. And I'm
Thank you.
sure if it comes out with something like a happy divorce thing, I think that's the need of the hour as well. So
Thank you.
thank
Well,
you so much, Pooja.
I've turned 50 years old. Okay, this year I turned 50. Okay, so I was like,
Wow.
wow, I'm 50 years old. I'm like, wow, half a century of experience. So I was like, it's like, and I've
I
been in every.
know.
I've been the daughter of, I've been the child of a divorced family. I've been through a divorce. I've been through being a stepmom. I've been through, being a stepdaughter. I've been through the
I don't know
gamut.
if you want to get into politics, but I think you're the right candidate to head something like a national commission for women. Seriously, Pooja. I mean, like, give justice to women where they needs and do not give justice to women where they don't need. So I think somebody
No,
like you,
give justice to everyone. That's the thing. Not don't
yes,
give justice. Give justice to everybody. And let
give
all laws.
justice to everyone
Yeah,
who needs it. Absolutely. Whether man or a
absolutely,
woman, yeah, don't go by the
absolutely,
genders. Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you so much once again, Pooja. Lovely.
Pleasure.
Have a great evening.
Thank
Enjoy
you.
Goa.
Thank you. All of
Bye.
you. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Where do I go to sign?